But so the first thing I have here is this video has been growing crazy all over Twitter. I mean, you're not really on Twitter. That's why I feel like you miss some of these like cultural moments that happen in pop culture.
I love it.
It's like I get like
it's so peaceful.
No, but I get the piece, but I also feel like you are missing like culture, like pop culture moments. Like, but like you know how like if you've been on social media long enough, like you know how moments happen on social media. Like this stuff be moments.
Yeah, and I don't miss it.
I mean, I feel you.
You know why?
So you're grown. It's like
yeah,
who cares?
yeah,
You know,
and
like
and
life
that's the thing.
goes on. Like it's not like you're like it was more fun when we were young. You know,
Yeah,
like
and I had nothing else to do. But like, even the topic we're about to get into, like, I'm getting older, so do I want to listen to random's opinions on like certain things? And it's like, nah, not really. I don't want to hear like the same, because you know it's the same, cyclical
stuff.
argument. Like, who's paying on the first date? Like, I don't want to hear these same topics over and over.
And
over
everything
again.
has to do with like an image that people care about.
Do you pay for your date's friends when you go out to eat? Like, I don't want to hear these same arguments every day.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this most recent cultural moment, pop culture moment, was there's this video going around. I think her name is Coach Stormy, and I feel like as a person who comes up with topics, I need to do better at getting background on these people. I will admit that, but I think her name is Coach Stormy, and she runs like a women's empowerment type thing. Like you know how you always hear about the women empowerment brunches, and like for me, it's very cult. Like people love to call Kanye like his stuff a cult. You know, no, I'm saying it's just funny because people will say that all the time, but then join Forex and you know the I Am Academy, not Forex, but join things like that. Mary Kay selling fitness stuff. Like you guys are in cults too. Like you're literally in a cult, but you want to say Kanye's in a cult because he's wearing black. So you associate the color black with a cult, but you don't associate you listening to somebody and crying in a conference a cult. Okay. Anyway, she's a coach. You know, these people love to be like coaches. Like, oh, I'm a life coach. I'm this, I'm that. But she's a coach. Her name's Coach Stormy. And she was talking to one of her clients who's also, I guess, her friend now. And they had the 2 plates of food. It looked like they were like a cookout or something. And she was saying, like, using it as like a teaching moment, saying, like, this is my plate, this is your plate. Did you actually see the video?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you know, she was pointing out, like, that's not a plate I would eat. Like, that's a low vibrations plate, even though the correct term is low vibrational. So she doesn't even speak proper. But she calls herself a coach. She's like, that plate is low vibrations. I'm like, isn't the term low vibrational? But whatever. She said vibrations. And she was saying, like, that's a hood rat plate. Like, if we put our plates side to side, who would you say was royalty? I'm like, you guys are eating barbecue food, like eating cookout food, just because she has, you know, more on her plate. And then she tried to get into this whole deep topic of, like the woman was like, yeah, you shouldn't just let anybody put stuff in your plate. You shouldn't just accept what people put in your plate. And then you had the in the background, yeah.
I never thought of that. That's crazy.
Like, you guys, like, I hate, like, those fake deep people, like, you know, they do the hand movements, so like, you shouldn't let nobody just put food on your plate. Like, you shouldn't accept what people put on your plate. Like, there's always the hand movements and like you know what I hate too, that a lot of the cult people do, because a lot of I Am Academy people do. They say like I think they say like okay a lot, or they'll be like, what do they say? They'll be like, yeah, I think they say okay. They'll be like, you know what, and like you gotta do this, okay? Like they say, is it okay? I think it's like some term they always say when they're like,
it's probably okay.
Yeah, I think it's like okay. They'll be like they'll say like all that stuff, like, you know, you gotta get the you gotta level up in life. Like, okay, you know, like they say like okay a lot, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they just do this whole like, it's so cringe. Like the I Am Academy people did it all the time. And yeah, so this started a whole conversation because like obviously I've been intent with making fun of her. Like, you know, now the whole saying is I can't wait for Thanksgiving, for my low vibrational plate. Like everybody is like, you know, they're just making a mockery out of it, and now it's like a cultural thing. Like it's gonna be a thing now. Probably people are gonna be saying forever. You know, for or at least for the next year probably. And then you have like Young Miami recreating, like people are recreating now, like doing skits and stuff. And it's like kind of whack. I feel like that's kind of whack too. Like, okay, we don't need a recreation, but I guess maybe the first question I have for us is like, was she wrong though? Because I feel like obviously I clowned her. Like I think it's like cringe, but sometimes there is like a, you know, I mean she was kind of hypocrite because she was like sucking on her fingers and she had the same food, but I feel like sometimes there is like you know, there could be truth. There's always, I feel like there's always truth in things people say, even if you don't agree. And I think us as a Black community is like, I hate the whole low vibrational, high vibrational terminology. But if you wanted to translate it into saying like, this is a, you know, unhealthy, you shouldn't be eating all this bread and all this food. I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I wouldn't say, oh, like the way she was talking to her, demeaning her, and like the whole cult following, and like like that's cringe to me. But like I said, I feel like there's always truth in everything. And I feel like as a Black community, we do eat horribly. There could be a level of truth to her being, that plate being low vibrational.
The thing is, everybody eats horribly. And we are overly self-critical to a certain degree. I mean, well,
the Black community.
Yeah, because that's our community. So our opinions and things are going to be about our community because that's what we see every day and it impacts us the most. But realistically, when you look at the stuff that everybody else eats around the world, like it's bad. Like,
and like
horrible.
White Americans eat horrible too. Like you see a lot of them that are big. They be just as big, probably bigger. Some of them heart problems.
A fried chicken meal is just as bad as eating like a plate of lasagna.
Yeah.
Like you're eating red meat, dairy, and like pasta. I mean, pasta's not bad for you, but
you know, a lot of cheese and meat and yeah.
And
like Indians, their diet is horrible. Like, and it's funny because Indian food is trendy right now on TikTok, which okay, to each their own, but it's just funny because I've been eating that stuff like my whole life. So I don't know. I'm like one of those weird people who like hate seeing stuff be trendy that like you do, but. I love Indian food. Indian food is really good, but it's very high in dairy, like everything. Like literally, I feel like that's why a lot of them, like no offense, like, and this could be a stereotype, but I feel like it's not really a stereotype. But a lot of them do be kind of like don't you always know that they're always kind of like they're not like big, but you could just tell like they have like
stereotype is
crazy. I swear on you, I've only ever seen one skinny Indian my whole life. Like
you're bugging.
I hope I don't get canceled, but no, I swear.
You're bugging.
I swear. No. But like no, but look at their diet. Like a meal I like is like Saj paneer, which is paneer means cheese. So it's like those cheese cubes. That's cheese. And then like a lot of their stuff like tikka masala, like butter, like their sauces have a lot of butter, milk, cheese, like mango lassi. Like this, it's like a yogurty type drink. Like they love like yogurts and milk. Like it's so heavy in milk, yogurt, and cheese. Like I be eating the food and my stomach be like, bloop, 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 bloop. So it's like, why aren't they get so heavily critiqued when their diet is probably just as bad? Like I think for us, our downfall as Black people, we fry a lot of our stuff and we do a lot of sugar. So people will say like, oh, soul food
salt.
And salt. Like people, yeah, and like you know, we always talk about like white people don't season their foods, but it's like maybe we should, you know, a lot of food does have natural seasonings. Like you don't need to overdo it. Like some foods do be having like natural taste, like, and we'd be like, slap your mama sauce, Creole seasoning, salt, pepper, like cayenne pepper. There's like mad stuff that we put in our foods, but I mean, I still do think, like I said, we do gotta look within our community because that's like our due diligence as to protect our own. And I do feel like we could do a lot better as people, like. You know, we say like all around the world they eat unhealthy, but why is our demographic like one of the highest when it comes to heart problems, heart disease, diabetes? You know, it's like heavy in our community. And you know, a lot of that could be if you want to get deeper into like, the whole racism and like
of course, it always how, like, connects back, doesn't it?
Disconnect to doctors.
It always does.
And access to healthy food, which that's a
major effect.
A major effect of it. So I understand that, but you know, you do see people who literally. Who have like access to foods, who will still be like, nah, that's how I eat. Like they're set in their ways. And it's like, at least like, you know, I can understand not having access to stuff, but at least like the first step is like, you know, they always said the first step is like, what happened?
We got ghostly activity going behind the camera. Keep going.
What happened?
Just keep going.
Oh. You know, they always say the first step is admitting. That's always like the admitting is the first step type of thing. I think that's like one of the issues because there's so much resources now. And like a lot of people don't even want to take that first step of admitting. Like, you know, I get we all have our vices and like gluttony and how we eat could be one of those. Like people just like food, and it's like I get that, but at least at least if you're aware that it's bad for you, at least that's this first step. A lot of people don't even want to admit that. Like they just sit so blindly to it and just are okay with it.
Yeah. To get back to the vibrational part specifically, like
I hate that stuff.
Yeah, I get the vibrational term, but you know, in the manner in which people use it, people try to sound more. Like
they try to sound deep.
Yeah, deep using the word vibrational. I don't know what that means particularly because
I think it's like a spiritual thing. Like we humans, they say like we operate on frequencies. So if
okay,
you're operating on a higher frequency, you're more in tune with yourself and the world around you. While somebody who's operating on a lower vibration or a lower frequency doesn't care about the bad music. They're just like an NPC. Like they're just not in tune with nothing. Like just living life like an NPC.
gotcha.
Not looking at the bigger picture of anything. Not
Yeah, so
NPC behavior.
so she's definitely not wrong. Like you said, the context and the way that she did it was weird because she was eating the same food, just it was less.
And she was sucking on her fingers. Like, you want to talk about that's a hood rat? Like, you're a hood rat sucking on your fingers if you want to really talk about it. Like, you can't be calling someone else a hood rat while you being a hood rat. Like,
Yeah,
sucking on your fingers. Like,
don't make that noise again in the mic. But yeah, I agree. Like it was mad unnecessary. But the thing is, like,
I mean, at least she
she's
did have
not
a smaller
wrong.
portion. Like, we do overeat.
Portion,
Like, you
yeah,
don't need to
exactly.
be stacking your plate at that.
You don't need to eat until you're
At
full.
buffets, yeah. Like I think we said this on the pod before. You're supposed to eat technically until you're satiated, until you're satisfied, not until you're full. And then like
In
the
pain.
whole itis and like my stomach and stuff. That's actually bad. Like, why are you doing that?
You don't need all that, especially if you're not even working out. Like you don't even need all that energy.
Yeah,
And that's why people gain weight. But
yeah.
yeah. So smaller portions. She's right about that. The vibrational thing about in terms of like the health of the food that you're eating is, yeah, of course she's right in that respect. And the thing about soul food is soul food tastes phenomenal.
It does. I love soul
It's
food.
tremendous. It's probably like the best grouping of vegetables and carbs and
Yeah.
protein that you could possibly have, in my opinion. Like
You get your cornbread.
it's tremendous.
You get your collard greens. You get your yams. You get
Mac and
your
cheese.
mac and cheese. So you get your carbs, and you get your meat.
The desserts.
Desserts, banana pudding,
Woo.
$1 million pie. I love
Come
$1
on, talk to
pie.
him.
Red velvet.
All that stuff is tremendous, but in terms of your health, you can't eat those things. Like it's got to be a once in a while thing, and
That's why
unfortunately,
it being designated to Thanksgiving, I feel like that should be it. And
Yeah.
I find myself eating it throughout the years. Like we go to that place, Paula's and stuff. Like, I mean, we don't do that as much, but I feel like since we moved out, I do that more often. Like, Newark's right there, so.
I don't like in general. My what I've noticed is that I tend to eat the same exact thing every day, and it's turned me off to so many things that I used to eat constantly. Like my diet used to be horrible when I was a kid, but I never gained weight. So I was like eating this stuff and I was a stick and I was
Yeah.
able to take down
Able to
10
eat, yeah.
pounds of mac and cheese at once. And then, over time it's like, all right, you're getting older, your metabolism is not going to work like that forever. And then it slowly has weaned me off like those kinds of foods to the point where it's like now certain things, it's like, nah. Like you saw my reaction to you had the thing with the cheese.
But
And
that's
it's
just
like,
because you don't like cheese, though.
yeah,
Like Parmesan cheese.
but just in general, like,
I feel you because like the food makes you feel horrible though.
It does.
Like realistically, I always mention this. I felt my best ever in life, like the best health I ever was physically, like even mentally. I could say was when I was still living with my parents and I was running cross country and on a vegan diet. Never had stomach problems. Never dealt with constipation. Like my flow was like mad. Like everything was smooth. I also drank a lot of water back then too because I was running. So like I was very hydrated. I was like the best. Like I need to get back to that. But like my parents forcing me to eat a vegan diet because that's what they ate in our house. I felt like literally the best. Like energy, high, like I was so high energy. I was so productive.
Yeah.
Now I'd be like laying on this couch all day.
Even with like ice cream and stuff like that, like when I lived with my parents, that's my like snack. Like I would have ice cream every single day, and like that's not even an exaggeration. Sometimes maybe twice.
I mean, my
a night.
parents' ice cream was their go-to pleasure too. Even it being vegan, it's still
It wasn't
unhealthy.
vegan,
No, I'm
so-
saying even the vegan ice cream, it still could be unhealthy. So
It is. Oh, like honestly, I've yet to come across any manufacturer that makes like low caloric and like good for you ice cream.
yeah, I mean the only ice cream I guess is good would be sorbet, but would you even consider that ice cream?
No,
It's just sorbet.
I'm not gonna shout out any brands in my gatekeeping.
No.
There's a brand called Nix, which is Swedish ice cream, and that's the only ice cream I eat nowadays. Unless I want a milkshake, and then I'll get it from somewhere. But even that is so rare in terms of how I used to consume it. But the only reason why I eat Nix ice cream is because it's a light ice cream, so it's not dense and heavy.
Yeah.
Super low in calories, and the worst part about it is the saturated fat, which is bad. But everything else, there's no added sugars or anything like that. So it's, in my opinion, but all those things, like, I'm starting to roll off it, because when I used to go get the Sonic extra large
I mean, it's good to do it
milkshake.
now because I feel like what
Stomach
happens
hurting.
is like people get set in those ways, and like that's what we talk about, and like they just are like that their whole life, the rest until they die. They just are complacent, and I feel like your 20s is the best time to like figure that out. Because then, at one point, unless you like relapse, at one point, this is what you'll be used to, and that's how you'll live the rest of your life.
Yeah, like, my weight loss has been
Even though
significant this year.
I do emphasize that once we have a family and kids, I want to be like, I mean, we would both cook because I'm like all about, we're in a different world now. But I still, I still want to have like that family life, like, mom cooking the meals and for the family, and you eat what I cook, and vice versa. So for now, it's fine. It's whatever. We're boyfriend and girlfriend. You cook your food, I cook mine. But unless we get to a family setting, if you have your own plate, the kids are gonna be like, I want what Dad's eating.
Nah.
Nah, you're not having your own plate. You don't have a family meal.
I'm a grown ass man, and I'm gonna eat whatever I want to eat.
No, we're having family.
I'm gonna eat whatever I want to eat.
Babe, I told you that's how I was raised. We had family dinner every night. And we're doing
Great.
That. Yeah, we're doing that.
I had a joke in there, but I'm not gonna say it.
What's the joke?
But yeah, low vibrational plates definitely.
the
the premise and the concept, but then you get somebody that feels like they're talking heavy. They got certain terminology, and people that are ignorant or
just gullible.
Yeah, gullible. They're like, yo, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of want to get to that next, like just black people in general and cults. Like it seems, I'm not gonna just point out us, but I do feel like maybe it's something linked with like, when you have desperation, right? Like you can link everything to white supremacy and slavery, because it's like when you have a group of people who got for so long got stuff taken from them, you get to a point where it's like they just gave up a lot of times, but then now you're also in a point where there's financial hunger basically, and literal hunger and all that stuff. So you kind of like, it was like a mixing, like a concoction. It's like you created like a monster almost, because you created like a group of people now who are so desperate for like money, and with that usually creates people who are gullible. That's why a lot of cult people, they target the vulnerable, the insecure, people, whether you're financially insecure or literally like internally insecure, vulnerable in the fact that you need money, or you're in a situation where like, you have kids and you can't feed them, whatever, stuff like that. They target those people, and that's how they get them. And I feel like, do you think that there's some type of connection with black people because of that? And like a lot of us being in like getting pulled into these cults? Because I would say that, but then if you look at history, a lot of the biggest cults were the whites.
It's tough.
Wasn't it Jamestown? Wasn't that a lot of black people? It's Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it was Africa. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, I think that it is obviously certain impacts of slavery, and also in the way that Christianity was forced onto Africans and African Americans. I think that because of things like Black Americans, I think things like that have made us susceptible to believing in or wanting to believe in things, and being more open to believing in things. And the problem with that is that you got people that will take advantage of that, because people want to believe that, in times of despair, that there's a higher power that's going to save them. And then,
the manifestation thing was a huge thing. Because I was saying, that lady who wrote The Secret or whatever, like she was like a cult leader or whatever. And like they used that, like, I'm not sure where the manifestation comes from, like what culture, so I don't want to misspeak, but it's like they learned that and kind of like took advantage of like a culture that they learned and twisted that into like a thing. Like now you see every single day, manifest your life, speak it to existence. Like you got people who take that stuff literal, and they think that by just writing stuff in a journal every day and praying that the stuff is gonna come to fruition. Like you actually got to work. It's like I think you have people who just believe in like, oh, God got me. It's like, if God got you, why don't he got everybody else? So the person, the hero who got killed in Waukesha by that guy driving a truck, I think it's Waukesha. I said Waukesha. I think it's actually Waukesha. Like, I heard somebody say it before in the past. But you think that 8-year-old that got hit by a truck at a parade, God didn't have him? Like, I hate that whole people's, and this is not me like coming out of religion, but it's like there's a lot of hypocrisy and like, and a lot of ego, and like in that mindset that like some greater power is just gonna make things work for them. Why can't it work for somebody else? It's just kind of weird, but. So I agree with that. That's probably an element into our people being so easily pulled into cults and stuff.
And then we do that shit to ourselves.
And like social media only made it way worse. Like, it's so cringe. Like seeing like that lady with the coach Stormy, like she had all her like minions behind her, and it's just like it's so weird. Like you guys are like
people rather
looking up to somebody.
Steal and rob from their community than to actually really support it for real.
Yep. And that's what I Am Academy thing for me. Remember when we talked about it, when there was still like when so many people that we knew were still sucked into that, like dummies, like no offense. Remember we made that video before everything went crumbling down. Like we was on it.
I'm gonna have to spin back on that one, on the.
Cause that was a crazy thing to witness, and it was all of our people. And then you had people on the internet, on Instagram. You don't care about your life. Don't you want financial freedom? I'm like, yeah, that's why I went to school for accounting.
I'm gonna spin back on that one.
Go to school for art. That's why I went to school for accounting.
At some point.
But yeah, it's like it's like that demeaning thing, and like those. And that's why like that documentary I made you watch, and like that Always Marco guy video, like you saw like him showing like the cults of the people in the conference rooms, like when they had their conferences, crying and wailing in the crowd because they're like, we're gonna change your life. You're gonna become successful. Like, look at all the things you could get. Like, knowing is not even possible. Like, MLMs are not even built to succeed long term. There's no way. It's impossible because the way that it works, where you have to recruit somebody, eventually is a limit. You outdo the population. So somebody's always at the bottom is gonna lose. Always, They're not. They're kind of made to fail. Like the very small percentage of people get to the top of them, and it's very predatory. And people. Like, I just couldn't believe how gullible people are that got sucked into that. Like, I was so secondhand embarrassed by, like, people that, like, I knew personally. Like, are you serious? Like, are you really that dumb? Like, no offense. Are you really that dumb?
Full offense.
Full offense. Like, you got sucked into that? Like, come on.
I don't want to keep talking about this, but...
No, but it still relates because, like, it's the same thing, like, with those women. They're mad insecure. They want money. They feel like they want to be a great woman to get men. So they rely on somebody to tell them all these, like, that's a low vibration. Yeah, you got to do this, and don't let them put stuff on your plate. Like this fake deep stuff, and that's what the Forex people were doing. Like this fake deep, like you a pastor. I'm
gonna get canceled off the internet one day.
No, say what
you once I don't restrict what I say, I'm getting
say what you thinking, babe.
No.
Sometimes you gotta let some people.
They gonna Andrew Tate me.
No. Say what you're thinking.
Yeah, in general, yeah, the concept of the plate, low vibrational thing, yeah, it makes sense, but I'm not paying whatever she was charging for coaching. Like,
and that's why I kind of gets to another thing too.
Google's free, dog.
Yeah, like no offense, but I would never pay for someone to
coach me. Never.
You can't coach nobody. Your life is your life. Every single person's life is their unique life.
You can coach people.
You
I ain't paying for that Instagram coach.
Obviously basketball coaches, if you want to use that coaching. Like,
I ain't paying for an Instagram coach.
Yeah, I'm not paying like you have packages where you spend like $10,000 to go for, like on like a cruise with her, like on a yacht, and like you get food. It's like crazy. It's a scam. You paying for some woman to teach you how to be a woman, teach you how to be attract men or whatever, and to be well rounded. Like these are things you should be teaching yourself, like learning yourself. It's not hard. Like to get coached to play basketball, to get coached to play tennis, yeah. To get coaching maybe on how to, if you want to do coaching for how to invest and actually not be a scam like I Am Academy, okay, sure. Being taught, but being coached on how to be a woman, come on. Being coached on how to get money in the way that they want to get money, because they just want to be like this Instagram type model, like on a boat in like Miami, And now you're going away to these seminars, going on go away camps. This is crazy. But yeah, I mean, we could always I think that has to be his own episode on his own, getting into just cults in general. And going back to that Forex conversation, I feel like enough time has passed. I'm ready to go crazy. Cause low key, when all that stuff was going down, I was really like, even when I was in a video with you, I was like low key trying to be hushed because I just knew too many people in it, like in I Am Academy. And I was like,
Man.
I don't wanna be shady because people think I be shading, but
Who cares? Honestly, real
enough
shit.
time has passed, but I'm ready to be like, you was dumb.
This is my last comment on this.
For
But
now.
real shit, like, who cares?
I know.
Like,
But it's people like my line sister.
yeah,
like,
but who cares?
videos,
No. Real shit, no, seriously, because that's like the same thing about like, oh, it's my cousin. I'm gonna give him 120 chances and try to like no, like just because there's some close proximity.
No, but what I can admit though is like I think if you have close proximity like that though, people would respect if you told them to their face that going on the internet and making YouTube videos about them. You know, like I would be like, all right, you right. Like I feel like she would respect it if I went, texted her like, hey, I don't think you should be doing this. That's where.
No, they wouldn't.
Well, yeah, because remember my other line sister said that she tried to stop her and she didn't stop. So, and they actually argued about it.
Yeah, exactly. People don't want to hear about themselves even when like that whole because whatever. People don't want to be wrong. Like I love being wrong because me being wrong means that somebody's teaching me something.
Yeah.
But
and that's the crazy thing. It's like
then she gonna go behind your back, oh this hating bitch, blah 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 blah. And it's like, all right.
And it's like I'm hating. I went to school for the money.
Nah, for me,
Accounting is money.
I don't even want nobody that would fall for stuff like that around me.
Me
anyway.
neither, because like you were really like you were kind of like when people are like, oh, that person's a liability, like they literally are. Like I hate when people have that like egotistical talk.
That's what I'm saying.
But you really are. Like if you fall off for stuff like that, like that makes you kind of dangerous.
Get away from me. In all honesty, I felt wild disrespected from the people that did contact me, seeing if I wanted to join.
Me too. Like this one girl who was in accounting class with me. I think she got her degree in accounting.
Like,
tried to use that accounting thing as like a thing. I'm like, nigga, you think I'm dumb?
Like, don't disrespect me.
Yeah,
maybe
right.
Maybe you don't really know me for real, but don't do that.
Yeah, because like basically you're saying to me that I'm gullible and easy and
like no, I'm not you.
And to throw my money away thinking it's gonna stick. Like people wasted and lost mad money.
People quit their jobs. Like y'all dumb.
Meanwhile, I've been sitting here. 401k been stacking up since then. New apartment, like it's funny because all the things that they try to say 9-to-5ers wasn't doing. Now they clock on my story, seeing you in Dubai. Like, yeah, we was in Dubai, but you thought that was gonna be your future because you did Forex and 9-to-5s are stupid. I'm not working for nobody. Well, working for somebody got me into Dubai and this apartment. So, and what are you doing? You're still in the same place that you was in before Forex, and we're way beyond that. We're on 9-to-5s, so. Now they probably like, ooh, Alex Amel just stepping up. Yeah, going to school for things that we knew was gonna put us in these situations, and not try to just throw our money anywhere to see. Like, if it was that easy, everybody would be rich. Like, but they trying to make it seem like it's not that easy. Like, oh, you gotta separate yourself and distinguish yourself. Like you will see, like we're a different group of people. We're different beasts. No, you're just no. And the people at the top, I'll give them my applause because it does take some type of skill to sell the people and to get people to believe you. So go ahead. Like, even if I don't agree with it, I think it's evil, at least they actually making money up at the top. The rest of you guys, you wasn't going to get there. Like, be serious. Be for real. Like, so I was just hyped up. That was like 2 years ago at this point. But when it was happening, I was so mad and so offended and so annoyed by the stuff I was seeing on Instagram stories, demeaning people, talking about 9-to-5s. I hate that 9-to-5, like, demeaning thing. Like, it's just, I can't. But we can get into that a different day, right? We're going to have a whole topic about that a different time.